go over to yourself to conclude.
Good morning, good Cahill, Ricardo Cheese, Walham Cogardos, go on then. Talastart, Falter wrote a rash and our chin. You're very complimentary Minister, welcome you back. You were always a very engaging Minister and always had your best to meet with TDs and the opposition and everywhere else. So I wish you luck just to keep avoid the golf classics. And I'm going to say that in jest. I know you were there for a perfectly good reason to pay tribute to your late colleague and your late father's good colleague, late Mark Killeray. Look, I welcome this legislation as well because we need insurance reform. So we're changing the name of PIAB to the Personal Resolutions Entries Board, but resolution is very important, resolution of all conflicts. As a businessman myself, business owner, perhaps in a business, and indeed as somebody involved in so many community projects, I know what insurance, the ravaging that insurance is doing. And if we'll end up now, which we probably will, with more companies leaving the market, as with the banking situation, we'll be in more trouble because, you know, there'll be monopolies. So I hope that the changes here, you know, I know that numbers are quite high that have used the previous board, and it has been a way of getting resolution outside of the court system. And the last place anyone wants to go to resolve anything is down to the Trasta on Owen, across the river, end up down with I nearly said the hooded gentleman, the Whig gentleman, and who have the other arm of the state, and it can be very costly, can be very what shall I say, disquieting experience. I've been there a few times. And, you know, it's a place that every word costs a lot of money. And sometimes you get nowhere, but you have a fine bill at the end of the experience. So, Minister, insurance reform, like I'm dealing with your colleague, Deputy Minister Fleming, about detached houses. We're here now trying to preserve our heritage. And I know I'm straying a small bit, but with your permission, Chair, and we have houses that heritage houses that are protected. I have one particular one in the village of Bealahalubi in Cartoniski in Tipperary, a lovely pub, Keaton's Pub, now Doonta, and now they can't get insurance to insure it as a dwelling. It was always a dwelling, the combined dwelling and the pub. And I know there were before the petitions committee last week. I was unable to attend, but this needs to be sorted out. It's beautiful, protected, detached, and bend up the road opposite the church. Lovely setting, and they can't get insurance for it, and they're living in it. So, I mean, that shouldn't be happening in any functioning society. Then we have countless community events that we have no longer this year. Many of them have succumbed to, couldn't get insurance, and couldn't afford it if they got it. And that is, it's more into a shame. That is terrible. Communities that want to give of their time voluntary and want to run events safely with their health and safety statements in place and everything else and can't get the insurance. And then if they can get it, they can't afford it. That is simply not a satisfactory situation. And also the fact, you know, the cost of insurance then to employers, to business people, to employers' liability, public liability, you name it, to the road insurance. So we're talking about reforms. In this case, this is a welcome reform, but we'll have teeth. That's the problem here. We have new boards, new name, because Gaeilge freshen, and but we'll have teeth. A lot of these places, they love to have the head office and the plaque on the wall and the fancy furniture and the seat and the CEOs and everything else, but that doesn't happen. So maybe I'm too critical of PIAB because they have done some, but the resolution is so important that we would have mediation and resolution. But can I just say, as regards the bogus claims, I mean, in the playground in Coshna, near my own village, we put up a playground when I was actually chair of the committee, but it got into disrepair and was closed. And my own daughter, Councillor Maureen, got involved in a new committee. And trusting she a reese, and they started up great guns. And they said, we had 2 claims. And, you know, adults falling out of buckets, basket swings that we had many we had cases. Some I won't go back to that happened here in Dublin, and there was alcohol involved. But this was during the day, and the signs up that these are for children under 12, and then they get solicitors and barristers to take the cases. And anyway, in fairness, the cases were left out of court. But lo and behold, they're now after being heard in the appeal court, and we're waiting judgment. We're waiting judgment. And you know what it costs to go to the appeal court. So I don't know, is there sugar daddies or is it no phone, no fee? But it's despicable. Despicable that community groups want to put facilities in place for the children of the parish and surrounding parishes, get great joy and engagement, and then you will have people that want to make hay of it. And the main part of the defence, actually, in the appeal recently was the fact that the former Prime Minister, now Imaha, Boris Johnson, when he was Mayor of London, was actually in one of these swings, was pushing one of the royal family, Prince, I don't know which of the princes it was, for the Special Olympics in London back, Deplino in Machine, 10 years ago or more. And if it's fit for the Prince and Boris Johnson, the analogy was made that it was suitable for adults in the village of Coshanu and Ashura, Tipperdown Hess, under the shadow of the Galtee of the Knockmadown Mountains. So it was fit for the Prince, and that was for an ad for Special Olympics. And the solicitors and barristers that took that case should be ashamed of themselves, as far as I'm concerned. I know you're right to court and right to justice, but this is farcical in the extreme, and we want to encourage communities. Mullinoga Chuckashield, Mullin Nadina Shin and Chuckashield. That's what we need in our communities, but we have these kind of frauds, fake fraudulent claims, and they just cause this quite unease. And if this goes against the council, it will probably pick up the tab, and that's taxpayers' money, and the playground will probably be closed forever if this decision doesn't come out right. And if so the appeal court, if you would mind, pretty new court is here in Dublin, the appeals court. So look, with those few words, I rest my case, and I thank you, Cathal Hillock, for allowing me in on the first round, because I was being the second round.